Great. Thanks for having me on. I am. Sure. My current role is co-founder, head of partnerships. My CEO and co-founder, Jesse Levy, was formerly president of Credit Sesame, has a more of a fintech background, but two of his grandfathers had heart disease and heart attacks before the age 50, and he turned 40. He started hacking around with his old health and got into the health and wellness space. I um I was on Wall Street for 20 years, left in 2002 and started a foundation to raise money for cancer awareness and funding. I partnered with Livestrong. Remember Lance with the yellow bracelet? Lance was more focused on survivors, providing the tools for survivors. We focused on, the root causes and prevention. I lost my dad to cancer and five of my friends under the age 40 to largely preventable diseases. And that's what's kind of got me going in the space. And I put on huge cycling events all over the country to raise money for cancer. So yeah, I was overpaid in my 20s and 30s, so I had the luxury of doing that. So I was always, into extreme sports and cycling and running and health and wellness. And it always bothered me that, a lot of my buddies were not in great shape. So I used to run boot camps in the marina in San Francisco down at the beach and make them run around carrying logs. And basically, I was providing a free coaching service. It's like SEAL training, yeah. But like, I'm the kind of person when friends come to me and say, I'm not healthy. I'm a little bit overweight. I don't say, hey, yeah, you look great. You look great. I'm like, you look like shit. And here's, you're coming to me and asking, why. I'm going to show you how, and then I'm going to give you a plan to make changes. And that's kind of what I'm doing with like company. Yeah, I'm in San Francisco. Yeah, before I do that, let me just tell you what we're sort of trying to achieve. I'm sure you've been reading a lot and you saw Peter Attia on TV a couple of weeks ago. He's on 60 Minutes, and longevity has become a really hot space in the last couple of years. There's a little bit of myths going on in the space, but our product right now, we have a three-pronged approach. One, we have a high-end longevity clinic similar to Peter Attia's, or to one that you might go see at your local physician, where you spend 20, 30, $40,000 to go through all this advanced testing. We do that. We charge $11,000. It's not for everybody, but it's a third the price of a bricks and mortar clinic because we're all online. Our physicians are online. So we start out with, why are you going through this? What is it you're trying to achieve? And then we're going to show you how to do it. And we do six comprehensive tests, including a bone density test, which is called a DEXA scan. I'm sure you've heard of DEXA scan. It does visceral fat and bone. We do comprehensive blood work, a sleep study. We give everybody a glucose monitor for 2 weeks to a month or 3 months, however long you need it. In some cases, we'll do genomics testing, depending on what individuals want. We don't do MRI. They're very comprehensive and expensive. A DEXA scan costs $80. And we do a sleep study and we do a gut biome test. And then we look at all that data specific to you, longitudinal data. And then we come up with a sort of a plan as to how to go about changing your behavior, your diet, your exercise. And we give you a personal longevity board, including a physician in every state that we're in, a clinician, an exercise physiologist, and a nutritionist. And then we hold you accountable. Like we stay on you. We give everybody a Slack channel that uses Slack. And you can Slack your doctors and clinicians 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Now that's all I'm going to move to AI, but it's an incredible value for 11 grand. I went through it myself. I can see myself 11 grand per year. Yes. Yeah. Includes all the testing, the doctors, the clinicians. I can't say we make a lot of money on the product, but it's our go-to lab to establish credibility in what we believe is the need for longitudinal data versus getting a blood test for $500 and thinking you've solved your longevity problems, right? Or getting only a DEXA scan. We think you need a lot more data, and you need a lot of subjective data. Being, it comes down to the why. What's going on in your life? What are you worried about? What do you want to change? Well, so we believe we can use AI to reduce that cost from $11,000 a year to $1,000 a year. Or so, yeah, $1,000, $100 a month, using AI to take out the heavy lifting. Now, the problem with AI today is that consumers aren't fully ready for a driverless doctor. So you still need a doctor in the loop. Okay. Second, AI hallucinates and makes mistakes. And AI is great. You can put all your health records in AI in a chat GPT now. You don't need me to do it. And you can come up with information. But AI is still going to medical school right now. It's in residency. We need to train these LLMs to the point where they're highly accurate. And then when the regulatory environment comes around, it will prescribe medicine, order lab tests, analyze all your data, which it does now with high degree of accuracy. And our plan down the road is to replace your primary doctor for $10 a month. That's kind of the plan for 1 billion users. And it'll be $5 a month for your employer. It'll be free with Medicare if you're over 65. Yeah, so that's the vision. And the challenges right now, all these functional medicine companies, as great as they are, they're raising all this capital and creating all this noise in the marketplace. I got a blood test and it said I needed testosterone injections, which turns out I didn't. I just needed to lift weights and make some changes in my diet. They may have been right, but they wanted to sell me $1,000 a month program. When my wife, who I've been married to for 40 years or 30 years, just said, you have testosterone issues, just go get a young girlfriend, right? She's got a great sense of humor. But my point is, then I've done all these other blood test companies. They just want to sell me supplements and just sell me products, and then they want to upsell me on more tests. I'm like, no. You got to start out with what's going on in your life. So we built this app here. Let me just show you something really, really freaking cool. Let me see which desktop I'm on here. All right, share. Do you have my screen that says Longevity Health? Okay, so this is what we use for our $11,000 program. You can see here I can chat with my physicians just like you would with UCSF here in San Francisco or the Mayo Clinic, whatever you use. There's my messaging. It keeps all of my documents that I've ever done, any of my testing. So you can see here, here's my glucose data right here. Here's my recent blood work that I had done. Okay. And now I went through the $11,000 program, but this is going to be $1,000 a month, this new program. So at any time I can call the AI chat agent, which is my virtual doctor, and ask it questions. My initial conversation with it was more about why I was doing this and what I want to change. I've already been through this. So I'm just going to give it a call right now. And, I hurt my knee the other day. I'm going to ask it for some advice. Hang on.
Hello, this is Jesse from Longevity Health. How have things been going for you?
Pretty good. Hey, I tweaked my knee pretty badly the other day running. I want to know if I should okay, so I wanted to do a quick demo of what we're using right now with our AI with human in the loop. So what you're looking at on my screen here, you have my screen, right? Yeah, so this is where I store and retrieve all of my records on an AWS server. I can also communicate with my physicians for appointments or chat with them. But for this, experiment, I'm going to show you with AI. You can see I have all of my data, the blood work, my VO2 max, my DEXA scan, and I can call up my AI engine anytime or my doctor and ask it questions about what's going on in my profile. I've already done the onboarding with the AI doctor and I've called it and told it about what I want to do. So it kind of knows me, but let's just try to call it really quickly and see if we can get it on the phone and ask it a couple of questions.
Hello, this is Jesse from Longevity Health. How have things been going for you?
It's going pretty well. Can you hear me okay?
Sorry, could you say that again?
I said, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly now. Thank you for confirming. It's great to hear things are going pretty well.
Yeah, hey, do me a favor. Just pull up my blood work really quick and tell me if there's anything I should be thinking about with respect to my vitamin D and my creatine. I've been taking creatine also. When should I retest for that again for blood?
Sorry, could you say that again? I didn't hear you well.
I said, pull up my blood work and give me a quick summary and let me know when I should retest again.
Absolutely, I can do that for you. I'll pull up your blood work and give you a quick summary. Just to confirm, are you referring to the blood panel from August 9th, 2025?
Yes, I am.
Sorry, could you say that again?
Yes.
I didn't hear you well.
Yes, I'm referring to August of 2025.
Okay, I have your blood panel from August 9th, 2025 right here. I'll give you a quick summary of the key points. Your B1 to creatinine ratio was elevated at 26, which could suggest dehydration or a kidney-related issue.
And what can I do to get that down?
To help bring that BUN to creatinine ratio down, the most important thing is to focus on aggressive hydration. Making sure you're drinking at least 3 liters of water daily is a great start. We could also...
Anyway, you get the idea. It's still a bit wonky. It's not hallucinating. It's just our beta test voice engine has just got some latency. Sometimes it doesn't hear me. Yeah. So if I enter a new test, if I drag a new test into the platform, it'll analyze it. It'll send me a note. It'll change my plan. After every call, I get an email updating our conversation and summarizing it and with a new plan. So we do plans, diet, whatnot. It's all fully automated. A doctor still checks it, and it's expensive for us because a doctor has, you're assigned to a physician, an MD who can prescribe medicine. And because AI is not fully ready from a regulatory standpoint or from a hallucination standpoint, we have to check it. It's not a legal thing. It's just we want to be sure that, we're giving people the right advice. Eventually, that'll be fully automated with AI. And where it will really become a $1 trillion company is at $5 or $10 a month is every human on the planet that's on our platform will control and own all their data. Not Epic, not Oura Ring, not Functional Health, not LabCorp. It's your data. The more data you have, the more we can analyze and use it to affect change. And then where it really becomes a $1 trillion business is when we can gamify it and we can change people's behavior through incentives, financial incentives, or such as you walk into a Whole Foods, it knows you're a type 1 diabetic or type 2, it knows you're a vegan, and 3 consumer packaged goods companies will pop up on your screen giving you a deal. When you're driving by McDonald's with your family, it's going to remind you to keep going a half a mile down the road because there's the Whole Foods. Yeah, there's a restaurant offering a special deal. It'll have, clubs and associations, women's with osteoporosis over age 55 of Greater Topeka, Kansas, all working out together. Strava-like Facebook, challenges to create social determinants of health. And you can even have financial rewards, such I did at my last company, where we paid people $1 a week to work out. And it's amazing what a small incentive will do to change behavior. More so social determinants than financial. Because the problem in America is companies provide all these, class pass, gym pass, Calm subscriptions, blood tests, and nobody does anything with it. You need to give people the tools and the social stuff to sort of motivate them. It needs to remind you, like, hey, Hunter, get off your fat ass. I noticed you just been traveling for 2 weeks. We know you ate like shit. You're going to join the men of over 225 pound club soon. And you're going to get kicked out of the yeah, you're going to get yeah. So, well, the idea is to make it fun, to make it gamified. So when you're at 225 and you get to 200, you get kicked out of the 225 club. And it's like, it's to gamify health and make it engaging. Because all this shit about longevity, no one does anything with this stuff unless it's you need the tools. You need the data, but you also need the tools to get people motivated. That's my... Exactly. It's funny. People always say, "Oh, America sucks. The food supply sucks. Drug companies are poisoning us. The insurance companies get more money for sick people." That's true. But it's like people have to change. And you have to help them change behavior by giving them the tools. And most people that are obese and, oh, Americans are all fat, they're out of shape, they're all diabetes. They do care. People say they don't care about the health. They do care about the health. They don't have the tools, they don't have the money, and they don't have the support. And that's what Lance did with Livestrong. He did an amazing thing to create an app to help people with cancer survivors. So I want to create a fun app around people's data to change your behavior. So that's Yeah. Well, my favorite hobby, I've been cycling my whole life. Racing bikes. I still race now at my age. I ride. I don't ride as much as I used to ride because I'm building this company, and then I love to build shit. I'm a historic barn aficionado, so I like to build old bar, recreate old barns with salvage. What would I tell myself? Oh, well, I wouldn't do anything different career wise. I mean, I left my career at an early age. I would tell people to listen. I tell myself to listen more, listen more, as opposed to, blurt out. No. How about you? Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh, I've been asked this one before. Yeah. I would bring Eat a Peach. I would bring Frampton Comes Alive, Rumors. Yeah. Rumors. Yeah, Rumors. Um, that's three. Oh, gosh. Guys, that's all I literally listened to. Three with their albums. I probably live at Fillmore East, another Allman Brothers album. That's four. I'm only going to give you four. Oh, yeah, yeah. Something with Terrapin Station in it. Absolutely. Yeah. Phil Lesh. Phil Lesh's son went to high school with my daughter here in California, and Jerry was obviously long gone. But he used to play 2 years in a row. He played with Phil Lesh and friends at the school fundraiser, and there's only like 300 families in the school, so it was awesome. Where? Oh, actually, he just died too. Um, no, I remember he was the bass player. He would just bring in. My daughter went to school with his son, so Phil Lesh at the annual fundraiser would show up with his band. He did, yeah. He just passed away, as you know. And Jerry was here for years. Yeah. I've seen them once in Golden Gate Park about a month and a half ago, and yeah, I'm not a John Mayer fan. I'm and what's his name? Roger, not Roger. Bob Weir. Yeah, his voice was horrible, and every time he would get up, the crowd would go crazy, and it was all like guys 75 or 80 years old screaming. The guy's like a freaking legend. But Billy Strings let play was phenomenal. I didn't think it was very good, and I love all that music genre of my age. But now I want to go to concerts of that genre. I make sure that they have a younger accompaniment with them, like Phil Lesh did. So I'm a huge. Oh, God, Marshall Tucker, the best band on earth. Sorry, Long Hard Ride. Yeah. So like I've been to see them three times and they suck because they don't bring in any young people and their voices are all going, but their music's phenomenal. So I think these bands need to bring in younger people and trying to do that with Dead and Co. But Bob Weir is just tired. Yeah, one decision. That's too personal. The what just popped into my head's too personal. Riskiest thing I've ever done. I was landing my airplane. Oh, no, I was taking off in my airplane with my family, and the fuel cap popped off, and I was at altitude, and the airplane. I started losing power on the aircraft, so I had to come back to the airport, and I was in the downwing leg, and I only had about 50 feet of altitude, maybe 100 feet of altitude left to turn base and final. I'm in the downwind leg, so the runway's not in front of me. So I did a aerobatic maneuver with the airplane, and I pulled back on the yoke and put the nose at about a 45 degree. Oh, sorry. First, I dove the airplane. I dove the airplane to develop airspeed. Then I pulled back and I did a full aileron roll wing over to turn the aircraft back to the airstrip. And literally, as I rolled level, the airport was there. I touched down. And I what happened is I forgot to secure the fuel cap on the right wing of the aircraft, and I got vapor lock. So there was air getting in the fuel line. So that was the riskiest thing I've ever done. And I landed, and then the next riskiest thing I ever done was to ask my wife to get back in the airplane 10 minutes later, which she did. One thing on my bucket list is I want to fly around the world on a small plane. Um, I planned a marathon in every country in the world with a buddy of mine, Dean Carnassus, who's an ultra marathon health nut. I don't think we'll ever pull it off. We can't get sponsorship, but I wanted to fly him around, and we do a marathon in every country of the world every other day, right? And my wife loved the idea because it would get me out of it. It gets me away for a year and a half. Um, but 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 I really would love to fly around the world, and then I really really want to change the nature of preventive health for the planet. And that's what I'm trying to do now. That's my legacy. This isn't a money thing for me. I think that our healthcare system is so fucked up. And I'm watching all this shit going on in Washington and all the crybabies bitching about Medicare and whatnot. And I'm like, well, the problem is not funding. The problem is changing behavior, changing the food supply, changing the drug system, changing the fact that insurance companies should not get rewarded for sick people. It just pains me to see people walking around unhealthy. That's what I want to change because I've had this incredible life of sports and athleticism and tons of energy. And I see someone walking around that's morbidly obese and out of shape, and it just pisses me off. That's what I want to change. And it's going to save trillions of dollars someday in healthcare costs. And I get to do this. I pay to do this. Don't tell my co-founder that.